Hello and welcome to episode number 2. I'm Joe Dorgan.
And I'm Eddie Alcala. We have a special guest today.
My name is Jake Baca.
How are you today?
I'm great. How are you?
Real good. This guy is so busy.
A little bit busy, yeah. Have a lot of things going on.
I'm glad
First,
yeah.
being a father first, and business owner, promoter,
He has the
president of a car club, and, dinosaur neuter and everything else.
So you were right. I mean, one of our guys became pretty busy and a very successful businessman. Jake has definitely kept himself busy. Jake, you want to give us a little story on how you began at 101? And then I'll kind of make sure that you didn't forget anything.
Do you want the truth, or should we change names?
Throw us all under the bus.
All right.
No, not literally, don't.
I'll be honest. I love Club 101 from day one, and I started coming for shows probably the age of 15. And I used to ask, "Can I get a job here? Can I get a job here? Who do I speak to?" They're like, "Speak to that guy Eddie over there." And every time I go and try and catch you, all I see is your hair moving to another side of the bar, and your hair is moving to another side of the bar. So I'm trying to catch you. I finally come in during the daytime one day, and you're like, "Mijo, you have to be 18 to work here." And I was like, "Perfect, I'm 18." Wink, wink, And I got hired on as a coat check. I was doing coat check underneath the staircase in the back of 101.
But the thing that you forgot to tell me or to say is that you would also bring your cousin and your girlfriend at the time.
Yeah, my cousin and my
And I'm
girlfriend.
like, well, is this a package or what's going on? Because
We're pretty much a package deal. My cousin Charlie Rubio, rest his soul, he passed away a couple years ago, but he was a big part of 101 also back then.
I remember.
That coat check could get really crazy. Did you ever lose anything? A jacket?
I think a couple of times I saw them going home with someone's jackets.
I'm not even like,
wow, this looks pretty cool.
Honestly, I was kind of digging through some of Joe's bags downstairs because he had so many concert T-shirts. So I was like, he's like, "Hey, cool shirt. I have one of those." I'm like, "Yeah, it's probably yours."
He's like, "Damn, that's where they all went."
Yeah, that was the doorway going down to the basement.
Right. Yeah, that's scary.
So you had a workout going.
Yeah, we're up and down, and then soon after that I was just a floor walker. And by the time I was there for about a year, and I was pretty much bartending. I went from coat check to bar backing, and then.
So remind us, how long were you there as far as an employee?
I was with 101 for about, let's say, the total of between 3 and 4 years.
Okay.
So I did leave for a little while. I came back, and then I was there when Jay Desai was managing at the end, and we tried to revamp some things at the end and move paintings around. But
I remember when you first came on because you were real clean cut, and then all of a sudden you got the tattoos, right? I remember telling you
he was kind of punkish. I mean, he had the whole punk thing going on.
I was opposite of that. As a matter of fact, I'll never forget this. I wanted to bring this up. Eddie hires me, and I had a blue mohawk, a septum ring, and I run up to Eddie. You guys are at E9, and you're like, "Eddie, who the fuck is this?" Like if I wasn't standing there. You're like, that we're trying to fucking promote 25 and over here, and you're hiring this punk rock guy? And I was like, what the fuck? Like, that's Joe Dorgan saying he doesn't like punk rock? I was like, okay, cool.
I said that?
Yeah, because you guys are promoting like 25 and over in E9.
Oh.
Are we going to edit this part out, or is I...
No, man.
He's like, oh, fuck.
I just remembered he didn't have any tattoos, and all of a sudden he was just...
Yeah, he's not saying that...
But it was part of the
he's
culture.
Just saying, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically, at the same time, I was apprenticing at a tattoo shop.
Yeah.
And that was on Dyer and Monroe. I mean, actually, it was Dyer and... was it Fillmore?
Yeah, Fillmore.
Dyer and Fillmore. I was there apprenticing and at the same time working at 101. So I was living my best life at that age, in the music scene, and then also living at the brew house,
Oh, yeah. What a cool place that was.
Yeah.
So I had the basement of the brew house on Stevens Street. And
the second floor.
Yeah, so I had the basement, and then I got the second floor, and then I was renting it out to different hookers. No, I'm just like to Jake and to what was that guy's name? Jason, yeah, and somebody else. Anyway, that thing was huge, and then
some great parties. I remember the white party and
yeah,
a few others.
A lot of other parties. But
Well, at that point, the girl I was dating at that point she was a stripper, so we brought all the fun. The club heads, we had all the people from the rock bands, the metal bands, everything. It's pretty crazy.
yeah.
And how long did it take you to learn how to tattoo? I mean, just
Actually, by the time I was 18, about the same time when I started bartending, I was tattooing. So the days I would work at 101, I would tattoo during the daytime, and then I'd come to work in the evening.
You know what I liked about this guy is that I could call him at any time, and he was always available. And that's part of what I was telling you with the people that I hired at 101. I just I had to make sure they had that same passion, and Jake definitely had it, along with his cousin Charlie, and
We
also,
definitely were there
what's her name?
on call.
Valerie.
Yeah.
we had a lot of fun. Yeah.
Yeah, it was great time.
What was your favorite show at 101?
I think my favorite show was My Life with the Thrill Kill Cult.
Yeah.
With Lords of Acid in the back end.
Oh,
this was
my
before I
gosh.
even worked there. Along with, man, there's so many bands.
That was a great show.
I'll never forget when we had Suicidal Tendencies and they didn't have a roadie. So I was bartending and I was selling their merch at the same time. And Mike Muir was like, at the end of the show, he's like, "Hey, dude, so what do I owe you?" And I was like, "I like those fucking boxer briefs. They're pretty sick. I'll take those." He's like, "You don't want T-shirts?" I was like, "I have all those." So, I took some underwear.
Man, I remember that guy running out of the middle of the street, and I was like, "Are you okay?" And he's like, "Who the fuck are you?" I was like, and then Joe the clerk grabbed him. "Hey, man, take care of you."
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have another probably band was White Zombie.
Oh,
And,
That was
I remember
that
White
was a
Zombie.
great show.
You're like, "Jake, you're like, go get a tub of Shiner, like one of the bus tubs, fill it up with Shiner, put ice in it, and I need you to come out and meet me in the front." It was actually the back door, and I walk out and you're standing in front of the bus with the bus driver, and you're like, "Just take it in there real quick, just drop it off and come right back." I was like, "All right, this is fucking great, dude." So I look in the bus and all the band members are in there partying. I walk in there and Rob Zombie is sitting on the chair inside, and he's like getting a massage by one of the girls, I guess his wife or whatever. And he's like grunting, yeah. I was like, "Excuse me, Mr. Rob Zombie, where do I put this tub at?" And he's like, "Put it over there, but you see all the stuff that's on the table? You probably need to partake with us, and I'm gonna trust you." And I was like,
So that's
"Oh shit,
what
dude."
happened. I'm just
It was-
like,
I was like, hopefully Joe starts putting me on buses more often.
well, we actually had some girls that were doing that kind of stuff, but I don't know. Remember we called them the lot lizards?
Oh, my God.
yeah. And I remember girls like, "Hey, they invited me on the bus. Should I go?" I go, "It's
I
up
don't
to
know
you."
anything.
I would tell a White Zombie story. This is an Eddie story. So I was told that the bass player needed some strings. So at the time, it was only Danny's Music Box. So we'd already set up the venue, had the barricade. Everything was all set up. So I go out there and I get the strings. I come back, and we've already opened the doors. And then I notice the barricades are gone. And I'm like, "Eddie, what happened to the barricades?" "Well, Rob Zombie said that we're not a moshing band, that you'd struck
Yeah.
got rid of the barricades."
I got rid of the barricades, and that was like the biggest mistake.
So we had those outside security. I was at the front. We were all hands on deck in
Yeah.
front of the stage.
So we were
I
actually the
was there.
barricade instead of the barricade
I
that
was
was
there
there.
with you guys. I remember
Yeah.
that.
It was crazy.
Crazy.
It's a good story now, but it was like,
What the hell?
so what did they tell you?
He just said that they don't have that at the other shows, that this shouldn't be anything different, and I had to get rid of them as soon as possible.
Yeah.
So I had bartenders, bar backs helping me to get rid of them, and because the guy was really like upset.
As a fan, man, I was having fun. Just the crowd surging and the floor was giving and all that. But as the owner, I'm like, this is it.
Yeah,
It was
the floor is really gonna fall in this time.
Well, that building was at the time about 120 years old, so that the beams on the basement were only like 6 by 6 beams holding up that structure of the main floor. So every show we had was, that floor was like waving because the
like
pressure.
MC 900 Foot Jesus was the one. I'm like, okay.
Oh my God,
we got a structural engineer after that because it was just like.
It was
I
was
remember
bowing so bad.
Yeah, it was leaking, and then it was crickety and bowing. It had stretch marks everywhere.
Yeah,
It was pretty crazy.
it was nuts. But if we had not had that floor reinforced, I guarantee at some point it would have given in.
Definitely.
Remember all the money that you spent on that?
Almost doesn't count.
That was,
Good
that was
times.
a lot of money.
Wow, that was a great White Zombie story. What else?
I think
Social D?
One of my favorite bands, or actually favorite shows, was the AIDS benefit show.
Yeah, that
And,
AIDS benefit was.
We had two
that was
stages.
with what's her face?
Rachel
Martinez.
Oh, okay.
Pissing Razors was or P Razors, whatever you want to say. They were headlining. And I remember being on stage with Big Joe. Remember Big Joe? He was up there rapping a song, one of their songs, and I was standing on one side of the stage, and he's on the other side, and it was like a teeter-totter. I was like, I kept on going up and down, up and down. But it was so intense, you know. All their fans here locally, they were just loving it. It's still the same. We're just a little older now, you know, not as much energy.
Yeah, that was part of a lot of what we used to do with 101 is we had a lot of, I mean, because we knew we were very fortunate to have all the people that came to 101. So a lot of people would come to us with benefits to be able to help them. And we had a huge network to be able to, especially you. I mean, we had this network to be able to advertise so well that all of our events were perfect. Like that AIDS benefit was the first time that we brought bands, art, people that did crafts, all this stuff. And Rachel and I organized that thing so that everybody fit in, and it was such a success. But we tried to do it the second year, and then I don't even remember what happened. I don't know if Rachel ended up not. I just don't remember.
I think she moved to New York
At that
point.
time?
Yeah.
Okay.
And,
Yeah.
But it was
she's
such
still there.
it was a great event. Great event.
That was a good time.
You know, so a lot of what we did, and I think I'm really proud of you that you've taken yourself to the levels you are with business and things like that. And I really do feel, it's like I was telling Joe, a large part of what I did with 101 has led me to do what I do now. And do you feel that has been a good foundation, or that was a great foundation for you?
Actually, in a nutshell, I was actually thanking Joe for inviting me on the show. And, you know, it's extra special because, you know, you're here and you're the one that hired me and brought me in. And to be honest, I feel that without you guys, I didn't really get my start in life. And this is my base foundation in life, and as being a promoter and moving, you know, and being progressive in the you know, scene here in El Paso. I definitely saw and took a lot from you guys.
That's awesome.
You know?
You really took off. I mean, you have a tattoo shop, you have a barber shop, you have a car club, you have.
He's a promoter.
I'm a
He
promoter.
does shows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I promote a lot of shows with Matt. Charlie, one of my booking guys.
Yeah.
I kind of showed him a little bit of the way I thought I did things out of the restaurant that we used to have, and now I'm taking it on to another level. I just love bringing live band. I love live music, and I love to see people seeing bands. I like to see reactions of people.
Yeah, your
When it's
businesses
the
are
live
all
band.
located in this square, like in the Northeast. It's really cool. You have something like once a month. I've driven by there and I see all these cars, and then I saw your son playing drums.
Yeah, that's really awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we used to actually before
Yeah.
you know, the pandemic.
Yeah.
We used to have it often. We used to do it once a month, but now we're barely getting in the mix of things, and we don't want to offend anybody if they're not wearing masks or not, and
Right.
so we're just kind of holding off on that. But
So
we're
tell us a
definitely-
little bit about your businesses that you have and the location of where you're at. So everything that's involved in that strip center where Pumping Ink is. So tell us everything that's there in that,
Well,
and in the location, like Dyer and what?
Yeah, we're Dyer and Monroe, and
Okay.
the both all the three shops are called Pumping Ink Tattoos is one, Vintage Barber Shop is second,
Okay.
and then Franchella Shop, which is, I don't know, it kind of sounds silly, my girlfriend.
No, that's fine.
I'm too old to say girlfriend.
That's good. It just keeps
You're
you-
old.
keeps you-
He's old.
Okay, that's the pot. That's the
I'm
pot.
kidding.
That's the pot calling the kettle black.
I'm ancient.
Basically, it's Dreadful Things.
Okay.
And it's a curiosity shop.
Oh, that's great.
She's one of the ones that really kind of pioneered that for El Paso. And on top of her being an awesome artist, you know.
That's awesome.
I highlight all my guys. You know, number one, we started my tattoo shop in 2003. And that was, you know, once I left 101, you know, towards the beginning of 2000, I went to go work for the state of Texas. I worked in the prison system.
What?
Yeah, I babysat
Wow.
grown men.
So you could beat up people legally?
Right.
No, I'm kidding.
I have.
I
No.
never-
I know some people like that, but anyways.
No, I'm kidding.
I never.
I know. I'm just
I never
kidding.
used the riot baton on anybody at any time.
Yeah.
Tasers, nothing like
Tasers,
that.
You know,
Wow. How long were you working in
I was there for about 3.5 years.
what an experience that was.
It was great.
But
because
you know
when I
what?
came out, I
That's
got to
probably
use
good
that.
that- yeah, that's
I
what I was
got to
gonna
use
say.
that as another stepping stone and foundation for being a business owner. So it kind of, you know, it works together, you know.
Yeah.
So I do have a lot of guys that, you know, that work for me, and it pans out to where at the end of the story, we all get along and we're all friends, you know, and we're family mainly. So like I said, in 2003, I opened the tattoo shop, and I moved it 2 other times before this, and
Yeah, because I remember you were closer to Hondo Pass at some point, right?
we started on Titanic, and it was a
Titanic.
promise on somebody that owned a building that was like, we had this for lease for so many years and nobody's taking it. So I did it as a favor, kind of, and it kind of really backfired on me.
Right.
But we're going on the main street with like Dyer Street, you know, Dyer has its, you know, pros and cons, but definitely where my shop is at.
I think it's
mainly-
a clean area.
Yeah.
that
It's a
has
great
lot of
location.
yeah, it's great.
And I think all the businesses all in one complement each
Yeah.
each
Oh,
other.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I think that I lucked out with Franchella agreeing to. At first she kind of laughed about it, like, yeah, right, dude. I'm gonna be next to your
Where was
tattoo shop.
Franchella before?
On
She
Montana.
used to be on Montana.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Yeah. So that what's nice is they all complement each other.
right.
And you guys are like, yeah, it's so kind of your crowd will go to the barbershop, will kind of go to her shop,
Yeah.
and then vice versa. So
Yeah.
it's really cool.
So she gets phone calls for piercings all the time, or like little tattoos that she doesn't really have time for,
Yeah.
and she sends them to us.
Oh,
so
that's
it's
very
always
cool.
back and forth,
Yeah, that's
you know?
great. That sounds great.
Yeah, it's been a great thing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very, very well. I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
Joe definitely is proud of you.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, 101 was a family, and then you have this group of employees. I know they love you. Your car club guys. How many stations do you have in the tattoo?
I have 14 stations.
Wow.
And then, yeah, 14 artists.
That's pretty big, right?
I have a couple apprentices.
Yeah, that's pretty nice. That's a nice
3
setup.
managers. You know, a couple fluffers.
I know those.
Yeah.
Do you have a tattoo?
No, I don't.
You know,
I have a lot of stuff I want, but
right?
no, I don't have that famous tattoo that everybody gets on their back.
The tramp stamp.
The
hooker stamp.
Yeah, don't
That
go
was-
there.
You would see that all the time back in 101 days, huh?
Yeah, kind of
A
crazy.
little tramp stamp.
Yeah, the girls wearing their little half shirts and
Imagine what those look like
oh,
now.
yeah, they look like black blotches on their back.
Yeah,
or something.
stretched out black blotches.
That's pretty horrible. In every direction.
Yeah. You got stretched out like a tortilla, you know?
Settle down. Yeah,
think-
so
You have a story of Jake that you want to? You haven't
no,
talked
just,
about.
You know, at first it was really so. Him and Charlie and Valerie would come by a lot, and it got to a point where I had people watching out for them because I'm like, oh my God, they're here again. You know, I can't. I said, tell them I'm not here, and they would keep coming back. They would just keep coming because he had already told me, you know, that they were kind of like they were just looking for part-time work or whatever, and I'm like, I don't have time for this. You know, I don't have
And that's
time
how
for
you
this.
get hired. You got to,
Be
get someone's
persistent.
attention.
They wouldn't stop coming. And
Yeah.
I just, some point, I was like, I had some of the bouncers that were there during the day. I'm like, tell them I'm not here. I'm not here. I have meetings and then I have the deliveries and I could see him like, I could see Jake looking in through the window and occasionally he'd put Valerie to look and it was just like, I'm like, okay, so finally the day, you know. So at first they were very, but they were very persistent, and then it got to a point where I think we both started like communicating well, and then he was always there. Like I could call on him anytime. Which Charlie was a different story. May he rest in peace. I couldn't. Sometimes he wouldn't show up,
Yeah.
and then I just look at you and you're like,
I don't know.
I don't know. But Valerie also.
Do you keep in touch with people that you worked with at 101? You know, some?
I do. I was talking with Marco. Back in the past. Who else? Well, I'm hang out with Eddie Razor all the time. He didn't work there, but he did.
He was 101 family. We need to have him on
He
here.
was part of the beginning of the scene. He's my neighbor now, so we're together all the time. You know.
He's got some great stories.
Yeah, working on stuff, wrenching. He's a bike builder. He's in our car club also. So,
yeah.
And with that, the car club is expanding. It's not just a local little car club. We're nationwide now. So we have chapters from Nevada. We have honorary members in California, all the way to St. Louis. So
very nice.
And so, are you going to do it was the Great American Rockabilly Ride. Are you going to do that this year?
Not this year.
Not this year.
We're already too deep in.
Yeah.
It's
so unknown.
Yeah. So we're definitely planning. I'm planning on shows, definitely. Taking a different approach in promoting. I want to start promoting a little bit more punk rock, the early 80s, 90s.
Yeah.
Or late 80s, early 90s.
So where are you doing your shows?
I have been doing them at the Rock House.
Okay.
Yeah, which is on Montana.
Right.
Yeah.
Another cool guy.
Yeah, he's very cool.
So you were doing them at Great American in the Northeast, and you built that outdoor. That was a cool.
It was so weird. We didn't even draw anything on paper. We just started building stuff, and I found some reclaimed wood out in Chaparral. I was like, you know what?
Whose house was that?
It's my buddy Leo.
No, I'm just playing.
They went to your house.
No, I don't think so.
I thought it was a trailer.
Settle down. No, that was. Do you remember Sean, the security guy?
I'm gonna say yes, even though
you don't. Well, anyways, he lived in. Not that living in a trailer is a bad thing, but I'm just saying, it was one of those like horror story kind of setups, because you went there and it just like, oh my God, somebody actually lives here. Kind of crazy because of everything he had outside, and then
that name. I'm really great with faces, but names. It's like someone said in the bar business. It's hey or bro or dude
or mijo.
Yeah, that's true.
That's you.
And with girls, it's babe or sweetie.
He even called my mom mija. I'm like, oh, you're so cute.
Settle
Eddie.
down. It made her,
one of these.
It made her feel good though.
Yeah, she's like, oh, I feel so young now.
That's a good thing.
What I liked about you is that, I had 101 and then it closed up, but you were always checking up on me. You were always it was just so cool. How are you doing? How's this? I remember the story where we all ended up at this casino, and I think you talked to Eddie. Hey, are you talking to him? Because we hadn't seen each other in a while.
Yeah, because Jake's like, because you were there, but I had gotten there with one of the old bouncers with Danny, and we went to go see. Who was playing? It was
Depeche Mode tribute. Wasn't it?
The Depeche Mode tribute. So we had just come from the other Depeche Mode tribute at the other casino, and then Jake's like, "Hey, what's going on?" He comes and hugs me, and then I'm like, "What's up, mijo?" And then he says like, "Hey, are you talking to Joe?" And I'm like, "I don't have a problem with Joe." And then he's like, "Let's go all have a shot." And I'm like, "All right." So then I went over, and your face wasn't too happy. You're like, what is he doing here now? And then I was like,
I love this guy.
No, about me.
Yeah.
No. And then Jake's like, "Hey, come on, let's all have a shot." So then everything was kind of. I mean, I've never had a problem after we left.
Yeah.
Or, we just kind of floated different directions, but there was never any friction between us.
Ever. I think I kind of, as far as anybody from the past that's, still around. I was kind of the guy that was mending a lot of relationships from that. I was probably the youngest out of everybody that was that.
He was
crew.
the youngest.
So I used to hang out with Danny and Jay Desai. They used to be best buds, and they had a falling out. Before Jay passed away, I had helped them mend a relationship.
Oh, that's cool. That.
And it was so weird, But I've always kept in touch with everybody. Everybody's worried about or wondering where everybody's at, but. Everybody's alive and well right now as far as,
as we
after
know.
This pandemic, you know. So.
Yeah, so the other night I was trying to get a hold. Well, Danny called me, Danny Ponce, and he's like, "Hey, do you want to go eat?" And I said, "Yeah, that sounds good." So then we called Ruben. "Hey, Eddie, Remember that guy?
He's still around?
Yeah, he's still around.
Eddie!
So one night, I'm just gonna tell a quick story about that guy. So one night, like the Wednesday before the Friday, because Fridays were kind of slow. We were, kind of, hey Eddie, can I have Friday off, Eddie? And I'm like, no, Ruben, no. I said, because you're Friday night, that's your schedule.
Yeah.
Like you're not gonna get. Come on, Eddie, you never give me the night off. And I'm like, okay, fine. So he shows up and he's already kind of buzzing. So then he starts drinking some more.
On the job.
No, he wasn't working.
Oh, he wasn't
I
working.
gave him the night off.
Oh, okay.
So then he used to be like on steroids or whatever, and we kind of knew it because he had some stories. But
Big
so
guy.
he started getting kind of crazy
Yeah.
because of the drinking and
You think?
yeah,
And the roids.
and the
Roid
roids.
raging.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
then he started trying to fight with the bouncers because he's like, I'm bigger. Look, bro, whatever. So then he started.
Exactly like that.
He started fighting with the bouncers.
I remember that night.
And the bouncers called me like, Eddie, to the front door. So I went down and I'm like, what's going on? And the bouncer's like, well, he just won't stop. He's like on he's raging like
Roid
bad.
raging.
Uh-huh. So then I said, Ruben, if you don't settle down and leave now, I'm going to have you arrested. Fuck you, Eddie. I'm not going to go. I'm going to stay here. I'm going to fight him. And I'm like, no, you're not going to fight him.
You're like talking to Kong.
I know, it was crazy. So then I finally called. The police used to come around all the time. They were very cool. We had a very good relationship with the police and the fire department. So on their rounds, I finally told all of them, I said, take him. And that's it. I go arrest him, And so he did. He's like, are you sure? And I said, yeah, I'm sure. So then in the morning, at about 7:30 in the morning, I get a phone call. And I see that it was Ruben. And I go, hello? Hello, is this Eddie? I go, yes. Who's this? And I already knew it was Ruben. He's like, this is Ruben. And I'm like, okay. Hey, Eddie, why did you have me arrested, Eddie? And I said, because you were trying to fight with the bouncers. Okay, Eddie, I'm going to kick your ass, Eddie. Where are you right now? And I'm like, okay, I'm going to tell you where I am so you can come beat me up. I said, no, Ruben, let me tell you right now. If you do something to me, you're never working at 101. Okay, Eddie, what time do I work tomorrow?
I'm here at the police department. Come.
It was crazy. But, yeah, so I tried to get a hold of him the other day, and he didn't show up to dinner with Danny and I. I don't know.
I was never invited either.
It's just because I was trying to get them back together.
I'm just joking.
I wouldn't do that.
You know what? I still speak to Paul Waseski here and there.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, he's a fighter
Yeah,
fighter now,
he's
right?
kind of on the semi-retired level.
Wow, look who just popped in.
Yeah, this is segment 2. So, Jake, you want to introduce?
Yeah. This is my son, Jake Jr. Baca. So he's
Awesome.
12. He's 12 years old.
He's a cool guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very cool. So I started watching the videos you would post of him on Facebook when he started playing drums, and I thought that was just the coolest thing ever because, I mean, you influencing him that way is really cool because then it starts developing this really nice foundation for him to be able to have the freedom to not feel scared to do anything, which is great.
Yeah.
And that's awesome.
I think what started that was, he didn't really listen to radio stations, and when he was little, I had an old iPhone that had all my music downloaded in it.
Wow.
And it was all of my style of music. So
Very cool.
I'm like, you want one of these? I was like, it's going to have all my music, and you can't download anything. So basically, you're stuck with listening to all the stuff I listen to. So,
And he knows his music.
Yeah.
What's your favorite band?
My favorite band?
Or you have several.
I have a lot, but
top five.
top 5. Oh, that's kind of hard. I'd say Smashing Pumpkins, Tool, and who else? Depeche Mode.
Oh, you're
The
definitely
Cure.
one of my favorite sound.
I was going to
The
definitely
Cure.
say Tool because I saw that you guys went to the concert, right? Didn't you have like a autograph? Yeah. Or was that?
We've been to several concerts.
Oh yeah, he's been to.
We're like kind of the Grateful Deadheads, but we're Tool heads.
That's cool.
Before the pandemic, we were traveling all over the states, following them. So I actually took him to what was it called, Jake? In Ohio.
It was a Tool clinic in Cleveland, Ohio.
Yeah, we went to a music clinic.
That's what it was.
We went to a music clinic, and it was just nothing but the band members, not the lead singer. But we got to meet everybody, the whole band personally.
That's really
and
awesome.
that was, for him being 9 years old, he started drumming when he was 7 years old.
How old is he now?
He's 12.
He's 12.
So now he's moved to not just drumming, he's playing guitar also.
Wow.
So and then he also plays a little bit of keys, and I'm just trying to guide him and mold him into being maybe the next Prince of our next generation.
That's awesome.
You know what I mean?
So he's going to be replacing somebody in the Piston Razors, right? No, I'm kidding. Sorry, Eddie. I'm kidding. Good jam with him.
But we actually, he jams a lot with these guys.
Yeah.
That's really awesome.
Him growing up in the restaurant, we had the Great American on Alabama, and we used to have live entertainment every Friday. And I used to push Jake up there. I'd go and ask the drummers, like, hey, can Jake go up there and play at least maybe one song or mess around during your break? And they would invite him on stage, and that's how
really
he got his start in being in front of people at an early age.
See, and that's what I'm saying.
playing drums,
That's a great that's a great thing, because then it like stabilizes him, and he doesn't have fear, like that stage fright,
Right.
Because a lot of people they get older, and then they go through that series of stage fright before they finally get confident enough to be able to play in front of crowds.
Right. He actually he found an old Club 101 hat of mine not too long ago. It's a white hat, and then it had the star emblem, that kind of.
Oh, yeah,
That was Club 101 Part 2.
It was in one of those bags downstairs.
Yeah.
No,
I'm kidding.
One of the
I think the ones that I took were was a consolidated one. I had to have it. I was like, oh my god, this is so cool.
I hope you still have it. Well, we have somebody else.
Oh yes,
You have to
this
introduce.
is Franchella. Franchella's my girlfriend, and also we're business partners and other, as far as promoting, and she's a great artist, and she's paved the way for a lot of female artists here in El Paso, and actually not just in El Paso but around the world.
So, Franchella, you want to tell us a little bit about your shop?
Sure. It's called Dreadful Things. I started it probably about Dreadful Things started about 8 years ago, but I was previously named something else because it was just a retail shop. It was called La Delita, but I was bouncing back and forth from that shop to the tattoo shop that I was working at. Oh. So eventually I closed that one down. I found a location that could suit both my retail as well as tattoo, and then I just everything just went under one roof.
Wow.
And so I've been tattooing now for about 13 years. I've been in business for maybe about 10 years or so.
Okay.
And we recently, about a little over a year ago, I relocated so that we're all together.
That's really awesome.
Yeah, it's actually been really great.
Yeah, it's really hard to find a setup like that, because usually there's other businesses in between.
Right.
Yeah, the odd man out, and then fighting for parking. And
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So
now we got the whole motherfucker now.
So how do they get a hold of you or your store?
So it's the same location as Jake's shops, which is 4001 Dyer.
Okay.
And they could look me up on Instagram under Art by Franchella or under Dreadful Things Tattoo. Same for Facebook. If you want to just look up Franchella or Dreadful Things, you can find me there too.
Very cool.
Yeah.
You've been a famous tattoo artist for a long time. I mean, before I knew you, I kept hearing your name. Like, wow, this tattoo's done by Franchella. And when I finally met you, I was like, wow, I get to meet this.
Well, what's crazy is
Yeah.
I have a friend. They have tons of your prints at their house.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's really cool. So the hallway going back towards the bedrooms has a bunch of your prints.
That's so cool.
It's very cool.
Well, I did start out as a artist painter first, and then
Right.
I eventually went into like the tattoo world.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. So it's just so small. Like El Paso's just so small. in so many
Absolutely. I
ways.
say that all the time. When
Yeah.
people are like, oh, I know you through this, and I'm like, yeah, because El Paso is like this big,
Yeah,
you know?
it's crazy.
It's
It
a
really
big,
is.
small town.
It really
That's
is.
pretty much what it is.
So
Yeah,
Jake
definitely.
is like the Kevin Bacon of El Paso.
Like Kevin Bacon?
You catch me naked outside all the time? I don't get it.
There's things I need to tell you that aren't going to come on this air.
Oh, okay.
I was like, okay.
See, he's turning red. Look at him turning red.
No, but it's been awesome, like, not just being with Jake, you know, like us together, but combining our businesses like that has
That's
been
awesome.
really, like, seamless, pretty
Did you
much.
Did you ever go to 101? Any of the
Yeah,
101s?
yes, I absolutely did.
Okay.
I was very, very young, but I did. I went to a few
that's-
shows when I was young.
that's what we
at
get.
the original location.
She had
I know.
a fake
I was
ID.
like, shh.
I know, that's when fake IDs were pretty prominent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all good,
It's-
right?
what's
So
weird-
what we said
what's-
earlier, like it says, like 20 years later, you can tell your mom what you did back then. Now.
Yeah. So I know you're not going to do the same thing because I used to do it when I was young.
Right.
But yeah, it's mostly girls, which is weird, that had the fake IDs. Because the guys, we would just never let in.
I
Except
also
for-
look significantly older than I was back then too. So
Well, we're not going to say that.
Well, it was 18 back then, but last night this guy played at 101, but he was underage playing. But somebody
Who's
gave him.
that?
I don't remember his dude. But this guy,
Mijo.
yeah, me.
Oh, exactly.
But he was telling me that he had a band. He was playing at 101, but after the show, somebody gave him a beer, and then immediately the bouncers just took him out.
Oh, wow.
I'm sorry, I didn't know about that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Mijo. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you gotta get it right.
Yeah, like Jake said, I was 18.
Oh, yeah. That's not
You knew.
Anything else? Jake, you want to
Um,
tell us what your plans are for the future here in the summer or
We're
late this
actually
year?
we're planning on doing the Great American Riot again in 2022, and also in between that, we'll be looking out for shows at the Rock House.
Okay, but they'll find out information on your Facebook? or...
It's going to be the personal Facebook or through the Great American Riot on Facebook also.
Okay.
And then Pumping Tattoos and Vintage Barbershop, we're all tied in, and also with Dreadful Things.
Okay, that sounds
and,
great.
And Lil Killer 915 right here on Instagram.
He's grown so big.
But yeah, that's my little
That's awesome.
my monster, and he's a straight honorable.
That's
by the way.
wow. That's very impressive. Well, keep it up, and I hope you go far in life because you have a great dad, and he has a great foundation. And I think he'll instill that in you as well. Okay. Anything else, Joe?
No, I want to thank you guys.
Yeah, thank
all
you
for
so
coming
much.
out. Yeah.
Thanks for
coming
inviting
down.
us in. We didn't even know
you.
we were going to be in here, so that's
was-
awesome.
You dressed for the occasion, so you're good.
It was an honor.
Yeah.
She dresses like that every day.
I
That's
do.
why- That's why I'm with her.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's really great.
I want to thank everybody for tuning in, and we'll be back next week.
Yeah, we'll be back next week. And Andy, thank you again for everything
Thanks,
that
Andy,
Andy
man.
does.
Thanks,
Thank
Andy.
you.
Thanks, Andy. So we'll keep you posted.
Yeah, any suggestions for our shows, let us know. We've got to get Eddie Razor in.
Yeah, that
So,
sounds great. Well,
out
tell
for
them
the
to.
razor.
So,
Or the
how do they
razor.
get a hold of you to suggest possible guests on the show,
I guess my Facebook or Instagram.
or
Yeah.
just send you a message on your YouTube channel?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, cool.
And
Sounds
get a
great.
hold of you, Hooker.
Yeah. Okay. Yes, they would get a hold of me
It's
as
all
well.
Hooker 915.
That's a different. That's a different website.
Back page.
Thank you very much, and till the next time.
Thank you.